Going to university, I just thought I wanted to be a businessman. So my uncle was a businessman, in Nigeria, and was quite successful at the time. That was why I read economics, just to see. But in university, I got more enlightened because I knew more how things operated. And first degree, I was saying I just wanted a good job that would give me the start. But when I came to do my master's at Unilag, being in urban or Unilag, a lot happening at the time. And that was the era of new generation banks, a lot happening. Our friends, in banking, our friends, some got jobs in some banks. And so that was all of us who were doing masters at the time. I did masters in economics. Who were doing masters at the time, we just became interested and fascinated. We were interested in working in a bank. New generation bank, not old generation bank, not. And so that was started, and we started applying for jobs in our banks and taxes, etc. And so whilst working at the bank where I started, I had a very rapid career progression growth. Within 12 months, I was appointed after postgraduate school. I was appointed a branch manager, and so that gave me the opportunity as a branch manager. Then, you were a mini CEO, and so I learned very quickly at a very early. I was 26, 27 then. I learned some professional colleagues, and I had been observing developments and evolution of the Nigerian banking system, and we felt that the industry will get to a point where some banks will fall off. And we decided to grow expertise and skills that will help us take advantage of that kind of opportunity if it came up. And just like some people say, it's more like we saw it ahead of time. And it did happen. And when it happened, we saw the NDIC then in Nigeria. They wanted to liquidate over 22 banks. And some friends, again, and I felt that it was time to practice what we had foreseen and what we were preparing for. This sector was growing at a very fast pace, and we didn't think the manpower was there to support the growth of the sector, and that there would be crisis in future. And so let's set the STB. Was there from day one. We went to Gere, we retreated, we strategized, we came up with what we call the 3-tier strategic intent. Tier 1, to turn around the distressed bank and make it viable. Tier 2, to make this distressed bank become one of the top 10 banks in Nigeria in a market that had over 120 banks. And Tier 3, to become one of the top 10 banks in Nigeria. And we put time frames for this. First one time frame was 3 years, 0 to 3. The second one was about to 7 years, and the third one was 7 to 10 years. That 10 years, year 10, we want to be one of the top 3 banks in Nigeria. And so this was it. This was what drove us. Every one of us, the pioneers, one knew this, and all the staff who came on board subsequently, they knew this. And that was how it all started. So we turned around this bank. That gave us, put spring on our souls, and we were ready to bounce more because we saw the first intent had been accomplished. The second intent to become the top 5-10 banks, we became one of the top 5 banks. Standard Trust Bank then, it was more the top 3 banks: UBA, First Bank, Union Bank, Zenith, Guaranteed. In fact, Standard Trust was 5th before even others. And then we said, okay, so this is achievable. Then let's re-strategize for the 3rd-tier goal, which was to become one of the top 3 banks. And that was how, from ashes of Crystal Bank to Standard Trust Bank, from Standard Trust Bank to United Bank for Africa. Having accomplished our 3rd-tier strategic intent, the next thing was, what next? We came up again with our 3-tier strategic intent for the new UBA. Tier 1 being solidifying our leadership in Nigeria, Tier 2 becoming a Pan-African bank, and Tier 3 having global presence in key financial centers of the world immediately. But we're one of the top 3 in Africa at this time. And then in the global arena, UBA is by far number one African bank, all of Africa. African bank. We're the only African bank that operates in the United States of America with a deposit-taking license, all of US. We have UBA UK, we have UBA in Paris, our rep office, and just recently we got our proven principal to operate in Dubai. The journey since 1997 has been one thing or the other, and I'm happy that many years down the line, we look back and we're happy that we're audacious and bold to make them move at the time. That's why today in UBA, perseverance, resilience is a core virtue, a core attribute, a core value of ours.
My name, as you know, is Tony Elumelu. I was born, raised, educated, and I've worked all my life in Africa. I am an entrepreneur and one who has enjoyed a lot of success in my chosen pursuits. You might say that I was made in Africa and that I made it in Africa. Without these critical resources, these ideas often never make it out of the dream world and into the reality of African soil. These are the people who can fuel our future, but who often lack the capital, the training, or the support to build a strong, small business to national or regional scale. I believe we can't afford to waste this talent, not in Africa. Demographic trends show that we need to create 10 million jobs a year. 10 million jobs to sustain Africa's young population. Entrepreneurship is how we make and take ownership and demonstrate leadership in our continent's affairs. Entrepreneurship means you no longer have to wait to see who will give you a job, who can seize the opportunity to secure your future, and you can seize the opportunity to secure your future, and in the process create jobs and livelihoods for others as well. Entrepreneurship will allow our young people to take charge of their futures instead of letting the future happen to them. Entrepreneurship is how we become masters of our destiny and tackle the serious risk that poverty and mass unemployment goes to the stability of our societies and economies. African entrepreneurs need opportunity in the form of mentorship, capital, and business ecosystem that favor their success. In other words, We must join hands as business leaders to help our young aspiring entrepreneurs to grow. The lucky entrepreneur I was at some point will today embark on the journey of giving back to the continent that has given so much to me, and doing it, if I may say so, at an unprecedented level. Through the Tony Elumelu Entrepreneurship Program, I am committing $100 million to support the next generation of African entrepreneurs, to support 10,000 African entrepreneurs and startups. The program is open to entrepreneurs from all 54 African countries. Over the next 10 years, our goal is to create 10,000 African-owned businesses, to generate 1,000 jobs, 1 million jobs through these 10,000 businesses, and to help contribute at least $10 billion to revenues across Africa through these businesses.
The man that I'm about to introduce to you today helped me tremendously. As many of us young entrepreneurs know, setting up a business in Africa is hard. We face capital problems, and secondly, it's hard to get access to mentors. But the man that I'm about to bring on stage helped my company with the first seed capital and helped us get access to quality mentors. So ladies and gentlemen, I would invite all of you to put your hands together for Tony Elumelu.
Thank you. Thank you very, very much. Thank you. Thanking the US government for making this possible. You know, this is creating a forum like this for those to whom the future of Africa truly belongs to. It's most importantly, we recognize the Madiba himself. Africa indeed is in great need of leaders like Madiba. And that is why it excites me to interact with you all today. 1,000 young Africans that the future truly belongs to, and those who must seize the future to actually help to shape the destiny of our continent. And more importantly, a call to all of you to realize that Africa indeed is in great need of 21st century leaders.
Africa is a home to about 617 million young people of working age, and the number is expected to rise to 1.6 billion by 2060, effectively turning Africa into the world. These entrepreneurs are part of the Tony Elumelu Entrepreneurship Program, launched on the 1st of January 2015 with a decade-long commitment of $100 million to grow 10,000 African entrepreneurs. Tony Elumelu is the new generation of African business leaders driving its economic transformation. Businessman, investor, entrepreneur, philanthropist, and avowed Afri-capitalist, he holds the Nigeria National Honors and was recognized as one of Africa's 20 most powerful people by Forbes magazine. Chairman of United Bank of Africa, Transcorp plc, Heirs Holdings, and founder of the Tony Elumelu Foundation, he shared with us the reasons.
I am a Nigerian by birth, but an African in everything I do, from my investments to my philanthropy and to everything and my essence. I believe that no one but us will develop Africa.
By 2050, Africa's population will double to 2.4 billion.
Africa is a land of opportunities. People in Africa are so warm, embracing, friendly, and they want to progress. They want the best things in life as their counterparts in Asia and America and Europe. From my investments, there's nowhere else that yields the kind of returns on investment as what I make in Africa. So, indeed, Africa is rising. And that is why to the 28 million entrepreneurs, I say to them, there's no better time than this moment to be and become an entrepreneur in Africa. Next generation of African leaders. Government is to set the right environment, but the private sector must take lead and take charge. Having been an entrepreneur myself, let me help to create more. That is the whole driving force behind the Tony Elmelu Foundation. I'd like to start by congratulating all of you. You have done well.
So now what do I want? I want a partnership with UBA. I want UBA to be the transaction operator for my platform.
Entrepreneurs, also aspiring entrepreneurs, know when an opportunity presents itself and don't fail to seize the opportunity. The CEO UBA Africa is right here. Come and meet him now and take his card immediately. I believe by my economic philosophy of Afro-capitalism that the private sector has a role to play in developing our continent. But in our environment, we have stifling conditions. Access to finance, seed capital, ease of doing business, mentoring. And to me, it's about legacy. It's about you all. Imagine, just put yourself in my position and working in my old age at 80, for instance, and I visit Zambia, and someone says, I own this financial institution, or I own this manufacturing, or I own this. Do you know how I started? I said, no, I got $10,000 from a certain man from Nigeria called Tony Elmelu. That's how I started. That's my ambition.
This report speaks directly to over 20,000 entrepreneurs across Africa.
Introducing these entrepreneurs, Tony Elmelu entrepreneurs, to the presidents and seeing the presidents engage policymakers and directing them to improve their policies. If you earn $1 and you're unable to save, if you earn $1 billion, you will not save anything. Capital formation starts from savings. If you do not save, you don't have money to invest. If you don't invest, you remain where you are. And so these lessons have helped me in this journey of entrepreneurship. Not even sharing in a manner that creates a dependency, perpetual dependency, no. In a manner that makes you stand on your own, makes you self-reliant. And so when we say we'll give non-refundable seed capital of $5,000, and when we do so, and to date, over 16,000 Africans have benefited from that program, it is not to encourage laziness, no. But we know San Francisco, where in tech environment, we know some started with less than $5,000, but today they've grown big. So we just want to give young Africans access, opportunity to prove their concept. 50 years, I don't see an Africa that is a land of plenty, a land where there's no more poverty. Income per capita is good, poverty and inequality is low, unemployment is single digit or almost non-existent. An Africa where there's no extremism, an Africa where we're not fighting, an Africa where we have self-confidence, and above all, an Africa where there's self-sufficiency. An Africa that can feed itself and feed the world. That is my dream.